Hi, welcome back. So now let's talk about ratios calculations. So what is ratio calculations and how is it different? So it is very different from the way we look at data. So let's start off by saying let's look at the category data. So let's say I have prop category, and now let me say I calculate a new column which let me call as profit ratio. Profit ratio is what I'm trying to say is what is my profit when I divide it by total sale. So for each order, I'm going to do something called profit calculation. So when you look at this, the new column that we have is profit ratio. When I bring it up there, so it is getting my profit ratio of like 82.3, which is basically how much profit I am making out of my total sale. So let me bring up my total sale, total profit. So if you see there, I have a total sale of 742,000 in my furniture, of which I'm making $18,000 profit. So if you look at this, why would it make sense for you to have 82.3 as your profit ratio? So let's see what's happening. So I click there, right click, I say view data. So when you click the view data, it says the measure values is 82.25. So let's look at the underlying data to see what's happening. So any of the calculated columns that you did would be added towards the end of your data set. So if you look at the profit ratio right there, this is what is happening. If you look at the profit ratio right there, it is 0.16, which means you're making 16% profit margin. So let's see what is, there is something definitely wrong out here, right? So let's see what is your profit is $41.91 on a sale of 261.96, which means that you're making, your profit is about 16% in this case. Similarly, you're losing some money here. You're losing 40 about 40 cents here, 40% here, because you're selling it at a loss. Your sale is 957, but you're losing $383. So basically what is happening for the value that you're seeing up here is because Tableau is doing the summation, it is basically summing up these individual values for you, but it is not really doing whatever you thought of the profit ratio, or it is not really giving us that individual profit ratio. So for that, let's see if we can edit this column of profit ratio and say, rather than giving me the sum of profit by sale for each individual one, calculate the total sum of profit first, and for whatever data set I have, and then calculate the total sale value and then divide it and then give me the total loss or profit ratio. When I click apply, if you see, the entire set is going to, because I changed my entire profit ratio, because I am doing the summation, it cannot do any summation here. That's the reason, if you see, everything became red saying it cannot do that. The moment you click OK, you will not have any data displayed because we changed the underlying calculation. So you have to remove that, and now let's add it back. So now if you see, the profit ratio is 0. Why would that be? Because, so let's go and look at what is the sum profit ratio, or do we really, what is the aggregated one? So this is a new aggregation that we did. So now let's go and look at why we didn't get any data. So now let's go ahead and see the value. So if you see, right click and see, you are seeing 0.0248, which is the correct value that you are looking for, but because we are displaying it in a different format, we are not really able to see any of this data. So let's right click here, format, and I want to basically look at this as, rather than I'm looking at the profit label, that's why you're seeing this row, right? Let's right click this one and format this one, and let's say columns, or I can even go here, format. I want percentage, I want two decimals. So if you now look at it, now it makes more sense. So earlier when we didn't put the percentages, we just thought that we are everything is zero and we had no data. But the main thing, as I said, is viewing the data is very important. You just click on there, look at the data, what you're looking for, and accordingly you can see the underlying data. If you look at the underlying data in this case, you're looking at data only for furniture. So if you make this as a bigger one, and let's look at where is my category right there. If you see here, everything, all the data that you see, you have 2121 rows. The reason it is only showing 2121 is because we are looking at data specific to that one. So you can basically see that your total profit is 2.49% of profit ratio, which means that in furniture we are not really having great profit ratios. So this is very important, especially the big thing that you need to understand right there is how profit ratio is calculated and how different it is. So as earlier we saw, if you put the individual profit, you calculate the profit ratio at the individual record level and then add it up, this comes to 82. Right now it is 0.02, which makes more sense. So you need to make sure you understand your data. Going back to our basics, what we talked about earlier, you need to understand your data and know what exactly we are doing in calculating profit, in calculations, or what is that the business is trying to look at. So just by looking at this, we can basically tell you that, hey, furniture is not one of your best profit margin categories. So let's add subcategory there, and we can easily see that bookcases we are losing money and tables we are losing money. In your profit ratio is pretty bad. Same thing, right now you have a new calculated field. So just out of curiosity, let's say I have a new sheet. I have let's take by state. I have let's say this graph, and now let's say I have the profit ratio pulled in right there into the color, right? So right now we knew Texas was bad. We are losing 15% there, but we never realized Colorado was bad. We are losing pretty much 20% profit margins are being lost there. So right click on there and you can view the data to see that what is the underlying data. We can see there are 182 records in there, and we can basically see how it is, which of the Colorado ones are really doing bad. So, or you can even add a region right now to see region, you know already Colorado, so you can even add the category there to see in like if you see there is 20% in furniture, there is 4% in office supplies, and there is like 31% in technology. So looks like technology and furniture in Colorado are really doing bad. So this is pretty interesting. Now it's as I said, you can basically add it to the label. You can say, hey, on this I actually have a profit of whatever money we have. So if you can see right there, it's pretty evident right now that we are losing heavily in this. And just by looking at this, you can say, hey, Wyoming, this is Wyoming right there. Wyoming does not have any office supplies or technology sales. So this is how you can play with a lot of new calculated ratios and stuff, especially when you're calculating something against something and trying to use that. And this is very powerful, believe me. A lot of people use ratios heavily in Tableau. So I would encourage you to go and look at other data sets than the Superstore and kind of use it and generate some reports. Thank you.